Welcome to Philly Fortune Talks with your host, Jake Penny, where the city's brightest minds share the secrets behind their success. Are you ready to be inspired?
Imagine harnessing technology to create suitable solutions for a greener future. Today, we explore the journey of Austin Arrington, founder of Plant Group, a B2B climate technology consultancy. With a robust background as a software engineer and data scientist, Austin has been at the forefront of developing sustainability solutions for organizations like Next Era Energy, ESMC Star, and Jonathan Rose Companies. Austin's expertise in leadership, innovation, and business strategy has driven the success of Plant Group since its inception in 2016. His work in climate technology amplifies the transformative power of integrating technology with environmental stewardship. Join us as we delve deep into Austin Arrington's innovative journey, his impact on sustainable sector, and his vision for a more sustainable future. Let's get started on Philly Fortunes Talk. It's a pleasure to have you, Austin.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, man.
So you founded the Plant Group in 2016. Can you share what motivated you to start this climate technology consultancy?
Yeah, for sure. So 2016, I was just finishing up a graduate program in environmental science up at SUNY ESF up in Syracuse, and was kind of just trying to figure out what was next. I had some experience working in sustainability, working for other companies, as far as installing green roofs and green spaces and irrigation systems and things like that, mostly in urban environments. But through grad school, I started getting more and more into software and technology and sensors and things like this. And I got really interested in environmental monitoring and how we could use technology to kind of better listen to the planet, almost think about like a life support system, right? And how can we use data to make more informed decisions to protect our natural resources, right? So that's what I was interested in. And the company kind of got started with a real close friend of mine, Bill Weiner, who we grew up together. We used to be in Boy Scouts together. And he was getting really into hardware, like making smart irrigation systems using sensors and kind of off-the-shelf electronics like Arduino and Raspberry Pi and stuff like that. So we had another friend of ours was starting a hops farm, and we both love beer, of course. So we said, okay, well, let's make an irrigation system to help them conserve water, and only water when it's needed. So that was our first project. Was for a friend's farm, and then from there we just started doing more projects. We worked on smart irrigation systems in Philadelphia with, really inspiring urban farmers like Urban Creators and Cloud9, and basically developed a system to kind of only water your plants as needed. So we found we could save about 25% on the irrigation water usage from just using sensors and weather data. And then on top of that, we also kind of integrated it with a solar powered pump, so that we could use rainwater as a water source and even further improve the water conservation. So that's how we started. And then from there, we've just been branching out into different projects in the sustainability space. We worked on a lot of regenerative agriculture projects, so helping farmers track their greenhouse gas footprint and make better decisions to reduce their environmental impact. And then we've also done some work in the renewable energy industry with NextEra, and we're just excited to keep going and try to build solutions for the planet.
Yeah, that's super awesome. I find renewable energy, I find it so fascinating. I was part of a project that actually didn't wind up fully getting to the finish line, but it was a hydrogen fuel cell project.
Oh, wow.
With Tucson Energy.
Wow.
It was a 40 megawatt hydrogen fuel cell plant, and we were going to sell back to the grid, and it wound up not getting completed after we went through all the different phases in the beginning. So yeah, I think it's really cool. It's definitely a necessity for sure. there's a lot of money to be made into it, and there's a lot of social ROI as well
Yeah.
for, the environment.
Heck yeah. That's awesome, man. I would love to hear more about that project. I feel like any of those failed projects, like they're still meaningful, and there's going to be a time where like maybe another project where you can pull from, what you learned and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. The biggest thing is that it wasn't. It is a failed project. The biggest investor, because it was a very expensive project. The biggest investor pulled out. He wanted to go into another green space.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah. He wanted
I
to
think I
use
get that. I got that.
Yeah, he wanted to go into use that land that he owned,
Uh,
and you know, kind of left us with a bag, and said he wanted to go into the other green space and not this green space. So whatever, it happens.
yeah,
But it was definitely a really cool project. Got to learn a lot. All the whole engineering side of it. But
cool.
yeah, so Plant Group has been involved in various sustainability projects. Could you tell the listeners maybe what key strategies have been essential for achieving successful outcomes for your clients?
Sure. Well, as far as achieving successful outcomes, um, for me, I am just really big on customer service. Like I'm one of those people just because of how I was brought up. If like, you go to a restaurant, you don't get good customer service, kind of upsets me. And I feel that way about software and technology as well. It's like, just because you're building something that maybe your client doesn't fully understand doesn't mean I mean, you have to be receptive to their needs. You have to be able to communicate. So for us, I think really it's just been an emphasis on listening to the client's needs and keeping up really strong lines of communication. And I think kind of what we've been known for is definitely thinking outside of the box. I think a lot of times coming into an industry that you're sort of tangentially related to, but maybe still new, you're not established. It can be hard to break in, but it can also give you somewhat of a competitive advantage because you're able to think about things maybe in a different way, than people who have been in the industry so long. So I think that has worked to our advantage, just our kind of willingness to jump into really anything sustainability related, challenge ourselves and kind of dig deep. To find the innovation. And then on top of that, I think it's all about how we've been able to kind of leverage the newest technologies and the newest tools. Like we are way on board the AI train. We're using AI to help schedule better maintenance work on wind turbines and things like that. So we're totally on board with AI, and I think that's part of our advantage as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's really cool. And then just all about pivoting too. When something doesn't work, pivot to the next thing. Because there's many avenues. For instance, that the hydrogen fuel cells project, we pivoted
Yeah.
to flare gas.
Okay.
Helping oil and gas companies in Texas repurpose their flare gas because there was a bill that was going to be passed that said, hey, you need to dispose of this toxins, right? So why
Right.
not you pump it through diesel engines and pump it back out to the grid through energy?
Cool.
But you know, I love to ask this question for entrepreneurs like us.
Mhm.
Balancing professional commitments, right, with personal life is
Mhm.
challenging.
Yeah.
Whether you believe in balance or you believe in integration, I believe in integration. I think balance is, you know, businesses, work, and life. They
Yeah.
go hand in hand. For me,
Sure.
so what daily habits or routines help you stay focused and effective?
Yeah. I mean, I like how you said it with integration because I mean, to be honest, I'm all about transparency. And like for me, like I was just on a call with a client. I have my son, my 2-year-old son right there, and it's just like, cause that's my boy. And like maybe someday he'll take over the business, right? Like so I just think being truthfully yourself and not hiding that. And also people want to work with you when they see you're a real person and they get to know you. So I think that's important. And for me, it's like, I started working from home and it's great. It's like just taking breaks in between meetings to go spend that little 15 minutes with my family and connect is like recharges me.
Absolutely. Yeah. That fuels the tank up to say, yeah, this is why I'm doing this. This is
Yeah,
my mission.
right.
Yeah, that's always great that you can step away for a little bit of time, recharge, get the vision back in place. Why am I doing this? Why do I show up every day?
Yeah.
And be like, all right, now it's go time. Get the
Yeah.
back to the grind.
Yeah, for sure. Like, and he, like my son Zeph and I, are like, he really inspires me. We go hang out in the garden, and just seeing him, how he interacts with nature is that like reminder, okay, why are we doing this? So, you know.
Yeah, that's really cool. So your work, involves developing innovative sustainability solutions. Can you share how this has helped a client and how it made a difference for them?
Yeah, for sure. So we have one of the clients we'll talk about is ESMC. They're a nonprofit called the Ecosystem Services Market Consortium. And what they do is basically they're on a mission to scale regenerative agriculture. So agriculture that kind of puts back into the land, helps grow the soil organic matter, the soil carbon, right? Less dependency on chemicals, that type of thing. So what we did for them is help them build a software platform for collecting all their data, normalizing the data, because garbage in, garbage out when it comes to data. Sending it through a whole modeling process, so they can generate outcomes to show farmers and how much tons of carbon have they removed from doing these different practice changes, right? So we basically kind of digitized their whole process away from tons of spreadsheets to a whole web application, right? And I mean, some of the examples, we've done a lot around automation. So they spend a long time creating these reports for farmers and projects about here's how much impact you have, which took probably hundreds of hours or not more, each season. And now that's just moved to like a process of a few minutes, right? So I think that was probably a lot of the biggest impact we've had is implementing technology and automation to help kind of reduce a lot of the labor so that they can focus on doing what they do best, getting more clients, and just having an impact.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's awesome that you work with the farmers too, because that's like the backbone of America. We don't have no food. We don't
Yeah.
have anything.
Yeah, I tell you what, man, you never had drink beer until you drink beer with the farmer. Because they do not stop. They, as hard as they work, they play harder.
That's awesome. As they should. They deserve
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So
No,
how was your Go ahead, sorry.
no, I was just gonna say for sure, like I love what you said about the farmers, the backbone of America. And I think we in this country need to do more to support them and realize how much they really do hold all of us up and make our lives possible.
Yeah, for sure. They do a lot. It's a tough business to be in. Sometimes they don't make any money. They have to
Oh
wait till
yeah,
the
they're
next
losing money.
season.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're losing money every which way, and
yeah.
they still do it because, I mean, you gotta love what you do,
Hmm.
right? To be a farmer, like you have to have a pure passion. It has to be in your blood.
Yeah,
Uh, because yeah, there's times where you lose a lot of money, and sometimes some seasons you don't make any money. You have to wait till the next season. You
yeah,
have to figure out how to make it through the winters,
yeah.
or an insect pesticide or like something like that comes through and destroys all your crops.
Mhm.
You know, it's an interesting industry, but it's damn needed, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So, how's your background as a software engineer
Mhm.
and data scientist influenced your leadership style at Plant Group?
Oh, that's a really good question. Well, I think having the background in data analysis, data science has been really important because I mean, me as a lot of in a lot of ways, I'm a product manager. It's like, okay, I have a vision of a product and I bring together the developers to make it happen. But being able to be literate in data is really important and it helps you kind of make informed decisions so that you're not always making a decision off of your gut, which I'm a big fan of making decisions off your gut. A lot of times as entrepreneurs, that's all we can do. But to have some data to back up an idea, I think is really powerful. And it also helps get buy-in, right? Because it's like I can say something, but if I show you the numbers, you can see it for yourself, right?
Right.
So that's what I love about that. And then as far as being an engineer, like I would say it has probably led me to be a more hands-off type of manager. Because for me, like I know when I was working as a developer, it's like I didn't want to be micromanaged. It's like you hired me because I'm smart and I can do this thing, and give me my space to let me do it. And so that's what my philosophy is like, you surround yourself with the right people and you have faith in them. You got to let them do what they do best.
Yeah, and it's also like really good as an entrepreneur to work on the business and not so much in the business, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
facts.
the
Yeah,
more we work in the business, yeah, like that's definitely needed, and it's humbling, and it shows your peers, your coworkers, your employees that you're in alignment with them, and you're not scared to get your hands dirty, right? And
right,
it helps them see the purpose, the mission, the vision, and they get more done. But at the same time, you want to be focused on the outside looking in,
right,
growing and scaling and making sure everything's on task. Because, like you said, you have these people that are smarter than you to do these tasks,
yeah,
right? So that way you can focus on building the company even more. So
right,
yeah, I mean that's no, I don't. A lot of people definitely don't want to be micromanaged, but at the same time, a lot of people like can't let go, like yourself. So
yeah,
that's like
yeah,
entrepreneur 101. You want to grow, try to let go a little bit.
yeah. And I definitely am trying to learn how to do that more, you know?
It's never easy, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I don't think it ever gets easier. It's more of just like a mental game that you have to go back and forth with yourself. Like, the good devil, the angel, like, no, yes.
yeah.
So what upcoming trends or opportunities in climate technology are you most excited about, and how are you preparing for them?
Oh, well, that's a great question. I mean, I'm definitely staying very excited about AI and seeing how we can continuously use AI to fast track our decarbonization goals. Um, one of the things that I'm really interested in is LLMs. Like, I'm sure you use Chat GPT. And I think just the whole interface of chat bots is really fascinating. And I think
Yes.
it's almost like this is going to be a new app. Like we have apps now, everything's moving towards chat. And there's actually been some interesting studies I was looking into about farmers in India and what do they prefer? They love working with these chat bots. There's just
Wow.
something so fluid about that interface that I think is also really resonating with farmers as well. It's like they don't have to go in and learn some new interface. It's just literally like, your farming assistant comes up and you kind of start talking through what you're seeing. So I'm really excited about that and just like seeing how LLMs and chatbots are going to continue to proliferate through the sustainability different industries. And that's really exciting to me. Um, what other trends am I interested in or excited about? I'm really excited about green buildings. Like I've put in a lot of work in the agriculture space and doing the carbon insetting and this type of thing. And I think that's awesome, but I would really love to now get into the green building industry as well. Because we spend most of our times as humans in buildings, and a
Yeah.
lot of the embedded carbon is really through these cities and these spaces that we make, right? So it's like now, how do we get these spaces to kind of live more harmoniously with the natural spaces and have less impact? And I think what I'm excited about is using some of the tools of data analysis and automation that I've been working on in agriculture and applying that more to like the built environment.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been really looking into chatbots lately,
Nice.
particularly
Okay.
Sintra
Don't know.
bots.
Okay.
They have multiple different types of bots. Like they have a social media manager one, they have an executive assistant one, they have
Cool.
data analysis. I mean, it's really, really fascinating and how they all integrate through different workflows and everything, and it becomes an employee for you. And I'm like, wow, this is so cool because ChatGTP and like Jasper and like
Mhm.
all these other ones are already super fascinating, right? Uh,
Yeah.
it's like a superhuman brain on speed dial at any given time. And like this is like, hey, now I can make an employee out of it just by like, because usually we use like integrators like Zapier and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is
Oh, cool.
automated flows, and it's wild the way of technology has come around, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
it's awesome that farmers can use it too. I never would have thought that, you know,
Yeah.
farmers could use it.
Oh, yeah. 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 No, and it's like farmers actually have always kind of been on the avant-garde of adopting new technologies and kind of willing to experiment, right? And I see them as just kind of the prototype of an innovator, basically. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it's super neat. I'm still like totally amazed by it, like blown away. I'm like, man, I haven't even scratched the surface on any
Yeah, I know.
on any of it.
I know. Yeah.
But if you had one piece of advice for aspiring entrepreneurs that are in any type of industry, right? Or specifically like technology or sustainability sector, what would it be?
Be bold. You got to be bold. Don't be afraid. Don't be embarrassed. Pick up the phone, call that lead, annoy the hell out of them, send 50 emails, be obnoxious, and believe in what you're doing. And it's gonna happen.
That's awesome. That's great aspiring advice. I mean, I'm the same way. I'm like I kind of go back to like the Wolf of Wall Street movie. Like where they're making the sales calls.
Yeah.
Make them buy or die.
Yeah, yeah. And learn sales. Like I don't care how smart you are. I mean, Bill Gates is a salesman. You feel me? Like you learn how to do sales and you're not
Oh yeah.
above it. You're not going to go anywhere until you learn it.
Life is sales. Like whether
Yeah.
you're finding your loved one, your partner to be with the rest of your life, you're selling yourself to them, not
Mhm.
the other way, but like for them to be attracted to you, right? Like you're
Yeah.
always you're a walking salesperson all throughout life, selling
Mhm.
yourself to for people to like you, like your attitude, your generosity, everything. Everything is sales. If you really look at it and you fine tune a few things, it's like okay, that could be looked at as selling.
Yeah.
Um, but you have to be good at sales because it definitely sales persuasion, I should say. If you're trying to go for a job, right, you have
Yeah.
to tell the employer why you're the best fit. You have to persuade them. So, yeah, basic sales is definitely a necessity for sure. So, hey, time flies when we're having fun here.
Yeah.
Now, as we're wrapping things up, a lot of people, self-employed like myself, yourself, we're really, really well dialed into our day-to-day profession or
Mhm.
our job, and we may start thinking about the future. We may not want to be doing this for the rest of our life as a entrepreneur, business owner, whatever your industry or sector your business is in, we may not be wanting to be doing those things forever.
Yeah.
So we have to start thinking of, what is going to replace our income in the future. Do you
Yeah.
have any thoughts about, you know, creating an income stream, passive income, or replacing your income through other investments for you and your family in the future?
Oh, I love that idea, man. Well, I do probably every other week I get some kind of email about, oh, we acquire small businesses, and I'm always interested in it. But I'm like, at the end of the day, my business is me. Like I am the business, so I don't know how that's going to happen. But it does. Anytime I get that email, it sparks my interest of like, okay, how can I create more processes so that whatever I'm doing to bring in clients and keep them happy, we can turn it into a process that can be repeated. So, I do think someday that could make sense to sell the company into an entity that I trust and keep it going. So that's on the table. I'm also really interested in real estate and how can uh, how can I combine some ideas around sustainability into real estate. Me and my wife, we've have this vision of a farm with casitas that could be a kind of healing and art space. We could also use Airbnb, monetize it through that. So definitely interested in that and just kind of creating beautiful spaces that are live in harmony with nature, that you know people can experience. So that's some of my ideas. How about you?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Real estate is definitely, my thing. That's what I have. That's what I do full time. Other things, like the renewable energy stuff like that. That's more of a side thing. With a partner. I was just the visionary. He was the one that kind of tried to put everything in motion. Um,
Cool.
but that's really awesome. Tony Robbins always says like you have when you start a business, you should always have the exit in mind where you're going to sell it. And, there's a lot of people out there, like the news buzz is, I think, like buying businesses, like Ronald Frazier, I think
Yeah.
his name is, and Cody or Corey Sanchez, the lady,
Okay.
talk about buying businesses all the time because we're at a turning that like the baby boomers are all retiring, and their kids don't want their businesses, so these businesses are just sitting out to dry, and
Yeah.
they've been run as mom and pop businesses, but they need to be run efficiently,
Yeah.
and you can buy them and scale them, and it's a great way.
Totally.
Nobody thinks about buying already done businesses.
I
It's
love a boring business is a moneymaker right there.
Oh yeah, like laundromats, dry cleaners, car
Yeah.
washes. Oh yeah. They're
Yeah. Yeah.
killer money makers. Keep it boring, stupid, simple, you don't have to be Instagram flashy or cool. Just
Yeah.
keep it if it makes money and it's profitable and it's above the law, cool. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Right on. Yeah.
Well, hey man, for the listeners that want to connect with you, learn more about your work, what's the best place for them to go to?
Yeah, for sure. So hit us up on Instagram, plant_group. You can message us on there. Also send us an email, info@plantgroup.co, .co. And we're looking forward to hear from you and working together to protect the planet.
Awesome, awesome. It was a pleasure having you on Philly Fortune Talks.
Appreciate you, Jake.
Thanks for tuning in to Philly Fortune Talks with Jake Penny. Inspired to share your success story? Visit phillyfortunetalks.com/guest and let's inspire together.